Tim, welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Omega Speedmaster 1957 50th Anniversary Limited Edition. You can see this special edition and limited production Omega Speedmaster and buy it on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full listing for this watch with additional accessories included, high resolution images, and naturally complete pricing details. Now on my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, you can see it is very close in shape, in size, even in detail to the standard Omega Speedmaster Professional Moonwatch. And the elements that make this a limited edition don't really assert themselves in terms of proportions or size, with one notable exception. Now across the case, it is still the asymmetrical crown guard beveled case introduced in 1965 and still in use to this day. So 42 millimeters, it wears a large 42. Because of the solid end links of the bracelet, if you actually measure end link to end link, outer extremities, it's 53 millimeters across the wrist, broad across the wrist. Now throw it on a strap and you'll be dealing with 48 millimeters from lug to lug, but the true size with the bracelet is 53 millimeters across the wrist. Now in terms of thickness, this one is a little bit slimmer than the traditional Moonwatch by about 1 millimeter, and I'll get to why that is in a moment, but the total height over the wrist is 13 millimeters, which wouldn't be so bad for use with a dress cuff or a tight sleeve if it weren't for the curious and distinctive shape of the Speedmaster bezel, poking out, jutting out, cantilevering over the wrist as it does. It is very solid. Although an anniversary piece, there's nothing retro about this bracelet and clasp. Extremely solid. You'll note that all of the modern standards are respected. Solid end links, solid center links. No pins and sleeves here. This bracelet is held together by screws. Very solid with nice contrasting metallic finish, polished and satin brushed. You'll also note that the clasp is of very high quality, extremely solid, fully milled out stainless steel with twin trigger release. You have to push both to open it, so no accidental deployments. The watch begins to set itself apart from its garden variety Moonwatch contemporaries. This watch was released in 2007 to mark 50 years of the Speedmaster, but when you move inboard of the tachymetric scale, it really departs from the standard Moonwatch of today. First and foremost, look at that dial. Yes, it's individually numbered, and yes, it features a vintage-style Omega logo and marquee, but what you may not note is that it's also enamel. So if you're familiar with the most recent Generation 2 Silver Snoopy with the enameled caseback, this one, back in 2007, even went one better with an enameled dial. It is beautiful, it's lustrous, it's rich, it has a gloss gleam to it that looks almost wet, almost like you could stick your finger deep into it. It's incredibly handsome, and because enamel is extremely stable over time, it's going to stay that way. Now, unlike the Moonwatch, this one also features a sapphire crystal over the dial, and it's worth noting, sapphire crystal over the caseback, only in this instance we're not getting the standard Lamagna based caliber 863 or 1863 that you would see on a display caseback Moonwatch. Instead, we're actually looking at an adaptation of the caliber 1285 Frederic Piguet, doing business as the Omega caliber 3201. Compared to the Lamagna caliber, it has a higher beat rate, 4 Hz to 3 Hz. It has a 55-hour power reserve versus 48 for the Lamagna. It is both a chronometer and a coaxial caliber, so more sophisticated on both fronts than the standard Moonwatch. Finally, 29 joules. It also features hacking seconds such that you can pull the crown, stop the balance, and precisely synchronize the watch. You cannot do this with the Lamagna caliber. A lot going on right down to the actuation of the chronograph functions, which is by column wheel, visible, and vertical clutch, not visible. Very sophisticated on each front. That is the high horology way of doing it. Smoother thanks to the vertical clutch. You can also leave it running if you prefer to have center seconds. That's the benefit of the vertical clutch. The column wheel, in contrast to the cams or shuttle system used on the standard Moonwatch, makes it just more satisfying from a tactile and audible sense. You can hear and you can feel the column wheel in action. It is very crisp. Finally, you'll note it does have a free-sprung balance, unlike the mobile stud index of the conventional Moonwatch and its Lamagna caliber. So there's a lot to be said for owning the icon of each of the great three houses in Swiss mainstream watchmaking. But while you'd love to have the watch that everyone knows, the Navitimers for Breitling, the Submariner for Rolex, the Speedmaster Professional for Omega, And note this one, not labeled professional as per 1957 convention. It's nice to have the watch that everyone knows, but in a version that nobody has. So this watch offers both recognition, a connection to the great history of the model, but at the same time, exclusivity and upscale touches in terms of fit, finish, and materials. You can see this anniversary Speedmaster and purchase it on our website.